You're listening to the micro version of the Savage Lovecast. www.savagelovecast.com.
If you're stuck in a relationship quandary, or if you're looking for sexual harmony, well, there's nothing you can't ask on the Savage Lovecast.
So I wrote a blog post after the van attack in Toronto, after another angry incel, the third by my count, went on a killing spree. And my blog post opened with an embedded tweet. Rachel Fagan tweeted, "Sex worker women are not a separate class of women who exist to absorb the rage, anxiety, and sexualized violence of men so that other women are, quote-unquote, safe. They are also human women with the right to safety from violent men." And then this from me. "I agree with Rachel Fagan," I wrote. "I have friends who do sex work, women and men, and they are not human shields. Their lives are valuable, and they're not here to soak up male rage. They deserve safe working conditions, and they deserve our respect, not despite the work they do, but because of it." I continued, "I have no sympathy for incels, involuntary celibates, lurking in dark corners of the internet cheering on misogynistic violence. I have no sympathy for anyone who picks up a gun or gets in a van and mows down women on their way to class or work." So imagine my shock when I fired up the Twitter last night and read this. "A number of people, including Dan Savage, have suggested sex workers as one way to head off anger in involuntary celibates." Yeah, no, not quite what I said. Actually, nowhere near what I said. I said the opposite, in fact. I don't know how you get from sex workers are not human shields, they're not here to soak up male rage, to Dan Savage thinks we should throw sex workers to the angry, raging incels. So let's try this again. I frequently hear from people who are, I don't want to use the term involuntarily celibate. I'm going to go with sexually and romantically deprived instead. I hear from these people. They're miserable. They wouldn't be writing me if they weren't. Men and women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and up who have never had sex or haven't had sex in decades. Some have never received so much as a kiss. And sexual and romantic deprivation, it makes people miserable. It can make people suicidal. And as a society, we're usually fine with that. We tell people who can't get sex that sex and intimacy aren't like air or water. A person deprived of air isn't going to live for very long, but no one has ever dropped dead as a result of being deprived of sex or romance or intimacy. Women who are sexually and romantically deprived write me long, sad letters. But there are no examples out there of women picking up a gun and shooting good-looking men at a gym or a frat house. It's the toxic combination of male entitlement, men feeling entitled to women's bodies, the male propensity toward violence, and the misogyny that grows like a black mold all over the internet that creates self-identified incels. A quick aside, we keep hearing that killing net neutrality will end the internet as we know it. Considering some of what the internet has given us, the alt-right, the incel community, President Trump, maybe ending the internet entirely wouldn't be such a bad thing. All right, getting back to it, I don't think throwing sex workers at violent, deranged incels will solve the violent, deranged incel problem. By the time a guy is incel identified, it's too late. No, our culture has to change in enormously profound ways to solve this problem and so many others. First and foremost, and again, and most importantly, men have to stop being socialized to believe they're entitled to women's bodies. The bodies of women who are strangers to them, the bodies of women who are their friends, the bodies of women who are their partners. And another cultural transformation that's long overdue and goes hand in hand with the notion that women own their own bodies. Adults who do sex work of their own free will shouldn't be stigmatized or treated like criminals. And adults who hire adults who do sex work of their own free will shouldn't be stigmatized or treated like criminals or losers. We are capable of recognizing the legitimacy of sex work, even the moral good of it, in certain cases. When a mother hires a sex worker for her profoundly disabled son, newspapers publish stories with headlines like, "The sex workers giving disabled people a chance to live out their dreams." We get it. There are people out there who are so profoundly physically disabled and consequently isolated that their chances of finding sex or romance the way most of us do, through dating apps or social circles, chance meetings, are non-existent. We know this, and that's why a sex worker who sees clients who are profoundly physically disabled and profoundly isolated are just about the only sex workers a major newspaper will ever say a good word about. Well, there are men out there who are profoundly socially disabled, so socially awkward or maladapted or damaged that they're just as incapable of finding sex and/or romance through quote-unquote normal channels as a quadriplegic confined to a bed in his mother's home. These guys sometimes find their way to hateful, misogynistic online incel forums where they're told it's not them, they're not the problem, women are. Again, and for the Twitter kids at the back of the room, I don't think sex workers can fix incels. By the time a guy is an incel identified, it's too late. And I don't want sex workers I know or sex workers I don't know to be alone in rooms with angry incels, or alone in rooms with men filled with rage because they quote-unquote had to pay for sex. Stigmatizing men who pay for sex as losers, running emasculating PSA campaigns like Real Men Don't Buy Girls, that makes it harder for men who may be profoundly socially disabled to access the sex and intimacy that they can, paid sex, without feeling even worse about themselves than they already do. One good way to destigmatize sex work, the rest of us, those of us who don't quote-unquote have to pay for sex, we could acknowledge that we all pretty much pay for it. We don't pay cash, but we pay. All sexual and romantic relationships involve an exchange. In most cases, the goods, sexual and/or emotional, being exchanged for services, sexual and/or emotional, are intangible or physical, and the exchange is of roughly equal value. It is a barter system, a system of exchange where goods and services are directly exchanged for other goods and services without using a medium of exchange, such as money. I give my husband emotional, social, and sexual support and attention in exchange for the same from him. If we weren't both paying in and paying up emotionally, socially, and sexually, our marriage would collapse. A sincere bond of affection keeps us paying up and paying in, but pay up and pay in we do. Destigmatizing sex work, again, for the Twitter kids at the back of the room, won't save us from incels or incels from themselves. An incel attack is almost always a suicide mission. But if we can manage to stop socializing men to believe they're entitled to women's bodies and to stop stigmatizing and prosecuting and persecuting sex workers and sex buyers, if we can stop telling men or women who have to pay for sex that they're losers or monsters or not real men and acknowledge instead that we are all paying for it, male entitlement will combine with sexual deprivation and explode. Okay, coming up on today's show, Dr. Lori Brotto is on to talk about asexuality, and we speak with the Stranger's own Anthony Hecht about internet privacy. All that coming up on today's show. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Aptiv. Aptiv produces audio-based workouts created by certified personal trainers, available through a mobile app. New members get 30% off an annual membership. Visit aptiv.com/savage. That's AAPTIV.com/savage. The Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Casper, mattresses made by humans for humans. Get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/savage and using the promo code SAVAGE at checkout. MeUndies makes feel-good underpants your butt will be proud to wear and you will be proud to be seen in. They will be the most comfortable pair of underwear you will ever own, and to check it out yourself, go to MeUndies.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I'm 23, live on the East Coast, love your show. So I've been grappling with this thing for a little while now. I have a long-term boyfriend we've been dating about a year and a half now, and I've had relationships in the past, and I've just been finding that I definitely enjoy the orgasms that I give myself from masturbating, reading, and watching porn more than the ones that I get with my sexual partners. They do make me orgasm, but honestly, they're kind of small and they're not really great because for, various different reasons. But I just wondering if it's, normal, if there are other people out there, what you think about just loving the pleasure I give myself more than that I get with a partner. I kind of feel like it's tabooed, or it's maybe not kosher really to enjoy masturbation more than sex with a partner. And I really enjoy the sex I have with a partner, but I don't know, it doesn't do it for me nearly as much as I can do it for myself. So just wondering what your thoughts are. If anyone else has any ideas, let me know.
Good news. You don't have to choose between sex with a partner and masturbation. You can, and it sounds like you do, have both in your life, and you appreciate both. You enjoy sex with your partners. The orgasms aren't as shattering as the ones that you can give yourself when you're alone, watching porn. But sex with a partner, masturbation, you don't have to choose. It's false choice. Have both. Enjoy both on their own merits and for their own qualities. And I'm sure there are things about partnered sex that are superior to things about masturbation, even if when you masturbate that the orgasms all by themselves, judged solely on quality and strength and intensity of climax, are better. That said, what are you doing differently when you masturbate than you're doing when you have partnered sex? Could be that when you're reading or watching porn, you are relaxing, you're taking a great deal of time, you're going at your own pace, you're drawing it out, you're edging yourself. If you edge yourself for a very long time because you're reading some really hot, dirty story or watching a really hot porn, or a bunch of porn clips that just hit you in that spot, the strength and quality of your orgasm after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 90 minutes of edging yourself is going to be more intense. If during partnered sex, you're moving at someone else's pace, at his pace, and you're not getting that long, drawn-out, edged feeling, yeah, that orgasm isn't going to be as intense and may never be as intense if you don't start using your words. There's something that you do alone that works so well for you. There's nothing that you do alone that you can't also do with a partner, so long as you're willing to open up to them about the pace you need to go at, the amount of stimulation that you need, the porn or dirty talk in place of dirty reading that you need to incorporate into partnered sex to really get all your cylinders firing at the intensity they fire when you take your time and you're alone. But again, that's not required. You can do all that work with your partner. You can bring them along into your pace and your intensity and the amount of edging and drawing out that you need to have those shattering orgasms. Or you can enjoy partnered sex on its merits and enjoy those lesser orgasms as still orgasms, and then really take your time and lean into those more powerful orgasms that you solo can give yourself. Once again, good news. You can have both.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 27-year-old gay man living on the West Coast in a liberal city. So I've recently made some new friends in the city, and most of them are very sex positive and open about their different relationships, and some of them are even sex work, and I'm very supportive of all of this, and I like talking with them about this. But the thing that I'm having issues with now is that I'm still a virgin. I haven't really been in any sort of real relationship just because of issues coming out and anxieties tied to that. And by the way, I'm working with a therapist on this now, so that's not what this call is about. What I am having a problem with now is that this group of very sex positive friends, when we're talking, they still kind of make fun of virgins and virginity in their conversations and sexual and experience, just kind of casually, which I get, but I've kind of wanted to broach the subject maybe, or talk to some of them about it, just because it does kind of feel like I'm closeted again by not saying anything sometimes. And it got particularly bad this week because some of them were talking about how they lost their virginity and just sort of swapping stories. And I had to get really withdrawn and just try to avoid anyone asking me about this because I didn't really want to talk about it, especially because they were kind of making fun of the idea of still being inexperienced at our age. So I guess what I'm wondering is is there a way to broach the idea of me being a virgin still, or talk to them without it being as awkward as I'm imagining? Is this something that I kind of should keep under wraps until I finally have a relationship where this happens? I'm just not entirely sure what to do.
Sex positivity is about respecting and honoring and celebrating people's choices and their experiences, or their lack of experience, or the choice not to be sexual. Sex positivity doesn't mean everybody has to do kink, polyamory, vanilla sex at all, or has to do it on your pace. It's about people feeling empowered to be who they are and embrace who they are and be open about who they are without judgment or shame. So your friends that you described as sex positive aren't being very sex positive if they're engaged in a lot of virgin bashing. It's understandable why people sometimes go in for that kind of trash talk. Virginity is exalted in the culture. People who are sexually active are subjected to slut shaming and sex shaming and kink shaming or open relationship shaming. And sometimes that gets people's hackles up and they're defensive and they'll say stupid things. Not out of malice, but just out of trying to put the thumb on the psychic scales and not make themselves feel better about being sexual, but to tear down the totem, the golden calf that was used to oppress them when virginity was exalted and is exalted still in the culture. It's like gay people who come out and then have a lot of silly, shitty things to say about straight people because they're defensive, and they kind of have a right to be defensive because gay people come in for a lot of grief and violence. And some gay people, when they first come out, and it sounds like your friend group is young, so they're recently out sex positive people. Some gay people, when they first come out, spend a little bit of time pouring a little bit of psychic thumb on the scales corrective scorn on what they were bullied into feeling like they had to be, or they were damaged because they weren't. All that said, use your words, open your mouth, say to your friends, look, I am a virgin. When you guys slag off virgins, it hurts my feelings. It's all you got to do. If you say it once, and these people are not assholes, they will be pierced by this revelation. And once you say that you're a virgin, once you say that out loud, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, like I always say about so many things, you are telling them one thing about you. Their reaction tells you everything you need to know about them. If you tell them you're a virgin and they mock you, or they continue to shame you, or they continue to thoughtlessly slag off people who are sexually inexperienced by choice or lack of opportunity or whatever, they're not sex positive and they're not your friends. And you should get the fuck away from them and go make better sex positive friends. If they are as progressive and thoughtful and hopefully self-critical as progressive and thoughtful people tend to be, as you would hope any group of sex positive people are, you will get the love and support from your friends that you need and that you have a right to once you let your friends know who you are. So tell them it's nothing to be ashamed of. You can be sex positive and a virgin at the same time. You can't be virgin negative or virgin shaming and sex positive. This episode of the Savage Lovecast is brought to you by Aptiv. Aptiv produces audio-based workouts created by certified personal trainers available through a mobile app. Aptiv offers expert trainers for the best results and motivation, a flexible audio workout format so you can work out the way you like, and a variety of classes and levels to keep you engaged. Whenever or wherever you like to work out, at the gym, at home, outside, when you're traveling for business, Aptiv is ready to go along with you with their mobile app. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. Aptiv's in-house music production team partners with every trainer to create music playlists that are perfectly timed to the intensity and pace of your workout. When you need that extra boost, the music keeps you going and motivated. When you're ready to slow down, the intensity of the music dials down with you. They have 5K, 10K, half, and full marathon training programs and a supportive community full of Aptiv members of all levels reaching their fitness goals just like you. Sometimes when I'm at the gym, I look around and wonder who else is using Aptiv. Subscriptions start at $14.99 billed monthly or $99.99 for an annual membership. For a limited time, new members get 30% off an annual membership, which is just $69.99 for the whole year of unlimited workouts. Visit aptiv.com/savage to get Aptiv and get that discount. That's aaptiv.com/savage.
Hi, Dan. I'm hoping you can weigh in on whether I'm staying married and staying sane, one of your phrases, or whether I'm just being a cheating asshole. I've been married for 10 years with my husband for a little over 15. We have 2 children in elementary school. I'm in my mid-30s. I've been unhappy for a few years, but manageably so. Then this summer, my husband told me he didn't love me and he thought he'd never truly love me. In that confession, something clicked for both of us, I think. He realized how good he has it being a full-time student and a stay-at-home parent whom I support, and I realized that I no longer want to be married to him. Over the past 7 months, I've started to explore the reality of a divorce, even seeking the advice of both a lawyer and a financial advisor. If we divorce now, not only would I be taking on the cost of childcare for my children while I'm at work and a second home for my unemployed husband, but I'll also likely be paying some sort of spousal support for the foreseeable future. For right now, staying married makes the most financial sense. My husband is clear that he wants to stay married, but he's unwilling to go to either couples or individual therapy. I started weekly therapy the week after his confession. In the interim, I've found a compassionate partner. This man is in a similar situation with his wife. We've become friends first, but we have met, we have had sex. He's incredible. I have no plans to leave my husband for him, and he feels the same way. So what say you, Dan? Am I saving my marriage, or am I just a cheater?
You aren't cheating your husband out of anything he wants or values, so you are not a cheater. Indeed, you're doing what you need to do to stay married and stay sane, and staying married right now is the right choice for you financially. It's the right choice for your husband. It's the right choice for your children. So do what you need to do to stay married and stay sane. I don't think you need to go to your husband who's told you that he doesn't love you, never loved you, and isn't sexually attracted to you, and disclose that you're sexually active with someone else. You might want to have a conversation with your husband outside of counseling. He doesn't want to go to couples counseling for whatever reason. Maybe he's afraid of being jumped on in couples counseling. But just have a conversation where you say, we are partners and parents. This is obviously, for now, a companionate marriage where there are no expectations around sex or intimacy. There needs to be affection and respect. We need to show that to our children. We can't have a high conflict marriage and a high conflict relationship and live together without damaging our children. So I respect you. I feel affection for you. We're going to make this work for however long we need to make this work. And we have no claim on each other emotionally or sexually going forward. But we are partners, we are parents, and for now, we are spouses. Just say that out loud so that if through some circumstance he finds out you've been having sex with someone else, he doesn't blow up at you or have grounds to scream and yell and pitch a fit because you never told him in advance. You know, he may be laying in wait for some evidence that you've wronged him to balance the scales in his head. He has done you this wrong, married you without loving you, without being attracted to you. And sometimes when people are sitting with that, this sense that they have wronged a partner, they are on the lookout for some wrong their partner did that they can put on the other end of the scales and then feel like it's even. And I think you should deprive him of that by having a conversation about what your marriage is now. Partnership, about parenting, affection and respect, period. The end. When Terry and I lay our weary heads down to sleep, you know we are getting laid on a Casper mattress. Casper is a sleep brand that continues to revolutionize its line of products to create an exceptionally comfortable sleep experience one night at a time. Casper's mattresses are designed by humans for humans. The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep surface with just the right sink and just the right bounce. Casper's breathable design helps you sleep cool, which is how I like to sleep, and regulate your body temperature throughout the night. They are not just a mattress company, though. Casper offers a wide array of products to ensure an overall better sleep experience, and Casper's mattresses are made in the USA. Buying a Casper mattress is easy. You order online, it's delivered to your door in a compact box, and they offer free shipping and free returns to the US and Canada. Considering we spend 1/3 of our lives on a mattress, it's so important to truly sleep on a mattress before committing. That's why Casper gives you 100 nights to try it out. Terry and I love our Casper mattress. We sleep on it and other stuff on it, and we liked it so much we got another one for the guest room. Get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/savage and using promo code SAVAGE at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. That's $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/savage and using the promo code SAVAGE at checkout.
Hi, Dan. I'm a 30-something-year-old woman. My husband has a fetish, and I need advice. He likes watching women poop. I know this because I've stumbled upon a few videos on his laptop. It's not something he's ever talked about with me. He's never requested to watch me poop. I've never brought it up because I figured if it doesn't involve me, why not let him have his weird quirk, whatever. Well, a couple days ago, I discovered a hidden camera in our bathroom right over the toilet. At first, I felt violated, and I thought, shouldn't I at least be glad he wants to watch me poop and not some other woman? Then I felt sad that he doesn't feel he can openly discuss this with me. Lots of emotions. I plan on sitting down with him and letting him know I discovered the camera. My question for you. Have you known someone with this fetish? What does it mean? How should I talk to him without making him feel defensive? I really do love him very much and don't want this to break up our marriage. We have 2 kids, but I can't live with a hidden camera in my bathroom. This is not okay. I know he violated my privacy.
You know that he violated your privacy. My concern, and the one I would bring to him right away, is whether or not he had violated anyone else's privacy. You may be willing to give this a pass or retroactively approve of this or allow him at certain times to film you pooping when you're aware that you're being filmed and it's not an invasion of your privacy. But if he has done this to others, if other people have used the toilet in your house, if he has surreptitiously filmed other women pooping or placed cameras in other restrooms or toilets that he has access to, and he gets caught, which is a thing that can happen, it's a thing that already did happen, you caught him, that's sex crime land, that's sex offender registry, that's prison. You need to tell him that you knew about the videos on his computer and you were willing to give it a pass and let it be his private thing. You found the hidden camera in the bathroom and it's no longer his private thing. He has involved you. He has violated you. We often, to sustain a long-term relationship, we are often put in the position of having to forgive a violation or a betrayal, and a serious one. Multi-decade relationships typically don't get to be multi-decade relationships without at least 1 or 2 or a half a dozen apologies offered and accepted and forgivenesses granted for a violation or a betrayal and a serious one. So I am not, as I'm sure lots of listeners right now, I'm not going to tell you that you have to leave this guy. A lot of listeners right now are probably thinking that you have to go and that this is unforgivable. And knowing what I know about relationships and having done this for so long, what we regard as unforgivable is very deeply subjective. We look at something that was done to someone else and we say that is unforgivable. Something of similar seriousness or the exact same thing happens to us and we are able to forgive when it happens to us. So I am not telling you that you can't forgive him and get past this, but you need to strip the bark off him in this process. That forgiveness is going to require an acid bath for him about what he's been doing, who else he's been doing this to, what risks he's run in pursuit of the porn he prefers, and the risk that he has placed you in, not just the violation, but the risk that he has placed you in and your family and your children in pursuit of this. Are there other cameras in other locations? Would be the first question I would ask him after I told him that I found the one in our bathroom. The videos that you found on his computer previously, where did he get those? Who are the women in them? Are they videos from the internet? This is a thing. This is actually a kink. There are guys out there who want to watch women urinate or defecate into toilets or on other things, sometimes themselves. This is definitely a fetish, definitely a kink. There is porn out there that is produced to meet this need. It is possible that he innocently acquired those other videos. It is also possible that he planted other hidden cameras in other locations. And that is something that you have got to press him on. Because you need that information so you can make an informed choice about whether or not you're going to remain married to this man. Find a kink-positive couples counselor that isn't going to shame him. Nobody picks their kinks. What we pick, the choices we get to make and have to make responsibly and ethically, is how we act on them, how we incorporate them into our sex lives in such a way that we don't violate our partners, violate anyone else, traumatize anyone else maliciously, needlessly. And that's what he did. This is traumatic. He has traumatized you needlessly because you already knew. And you were willing to give this a pass and let it be his private thing. If he had disclosed this to you, even if he had expressed a desire to have some videos of you taking a crap at a time when you knew that you were being videoed taking a crap, you might have been able to allow for that in an ethical way, in a way that wasn't a violation requiring bark stripping and acid bathing and forgiveness. The way he went about it, all wrong. He has some apologizing to do and some explaining to do. And after you have that apology and you're able to weigh whether you think it's sincere. And after you have those explanations, if you have the information you need to make, again, an informed decision about whether you're going to stay married to this man, then you make up your mind. With tons of styles and patterns to choose from for both men and women, MeUndies has underpants you are going to love for sure. They're the perfect balance of comfortable fit and cute design. Every month they have new and exciting prints, and they arrive at your door in a fun bag. If you want to be sickeningly cute in your underpants, you can get matching underwear for you and your sweetie, or for you and every single member of your entire polypod. MeUndies uses lensing micromodal in their underwear. It's a sustainably sourced, naturally soft fiber that starts with beechwood trees and ends with the most amazing fabric you've ever experienced. The results are downright dreamy. Your butt will thank you. MeUndies' adventurous prints and designs are all limited edition, and new patterns are released every few weeks on a rolling basis. We just got some MeUndies with a fancy banana pattern, and who doesn't like underpants with a fancy banana pattern? MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, when you purchase any MeUndies, you get 20% off and free shipping. MeUndies is so sure you'll love their underwear. They offer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you do not love your first pair, you get a full refund. This one is easy, folks. Get 20% off a pair of the most comfortable undies you will ever put on. To get 20% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/savage. That's MeUndies.com/savage.
Hey, Dan. 26-year-old here. I've noticed a trend in my dating life that I was hoping you could help me out with. Now, I've never had a problem getting girls to go out with me, finding sex partners. I'm getting laid. I'm happy with that. But for the girls that I'm interested in seeing a little more seriously, that I see potentially a future with, I try harder. I'm more engaged. I'm more attentive. I think, more desirable. I'm happier when I'm around them, and I get rejected. Now, sometimes I'll date these girls just a handful of times. Sometimes it's, a month or two, but it never really amounts to much, and I am rejected. And today, I'm being ghosted by this girl I went out with a couple weeks ago. I met her at a bar. We went out a few days later. It was all good. We had sex. I thought we had a really fun time. The last couple of weeks, I've been, texting her, trying to, hang out with her, saying what's up. And today I asked her out, and sure enough, she has not responded, and I do not think she will be responding to me. And on the flip side, I should say, that, with the girls that I'm not that into, who I don't see really going any further than, say, like a friends with benefits situation, I'm not as attentive, clearly not as into them, and they're much more into me, and they text me all the time, and they want me more seriously, but it's I don't think I'm as desirable when I'm with these girls, because I'm not. I make it pretty clear that I don't want anything more than, maybe like a casual thing. But with the girls that I want, I get rejected, and it's very frustrating, because it happens very often. Pretty much everybody, actually, everyone that I've dated that I want to see more seriously, I get rejected. So at this point, I thought I could chalk it up to bad luck, but I'm clearly doing something wrong. I just wish I had never met this girl that's ghosting me right now. I wish I'd never come across her, and I just stayed home and jerked off, because it'd save me the humiliation of being ghosted like this.
I listened to your question a couple of times, and I think I have the answer for you. It's right there in the call.
Oh, is it?
Slow your fucking roll, dude.
What do you mean?
You say that with girls that you're interested in, you step it up. You lavish attention on them, and you try to communicate to them that you are really fucking interested, right? And these are girls you've only seen a handful of times, because nothing so far where you were really interested lasted more than a few weeks or a month. And with girls that you could take or leave, they keep coming back at you.
Exactly.
With girls you treat with a little bit of indifference or distance, they're pursuing you. And it's not, I don't want to get into pickup artist bullshit here about negging or, pulling away from a woman so that she begins to chase you. It's just that I think,
exactly. That's what I'm thinking. It's
right. No. I'm not I am not endorsing that. I think, though, that when you are interested in a woman, you're only in your 20s. The other thing you said at the end of the call, I think, is totally true. This is dating. People ghosting each other. People are auditioning partners. Straight people now, to their credit, they wise the fuck up. They're not settling down or getting married until they're in their late 20s or early 30s. That's why you hear so much less these days about the midlife crisis. We used to hear about that all the time in literature and film because straight people didn't have a life before they settled down. And we hear a lot less now about the midlife crisis because straight people now have a life before they settle down. They live before they marry.
True.
And
True.
you know, stop living. And so we don't have the midlife crisis lit film trope anymore to kick around. And that's good.
Yeah.
All that said, so this is dating. Like, you're in your mid-20s, you're into these women. Nobody wants to settle down yet. And I think you're spooking the women that you're interested in by coming on too strong. I don't think you have to pick up artist bullshit, perform indifference or negativity. I just think you need to be a check on yourself.
It's just hard for me, I guess, not to like express interest. I guess.
No.
I guess I'm coming on too.
Express interest, but you need a filter that lets about 30% of that expression of interest through instead of 100%, because the 100% that you're allowing through now is scaring women. It is spooking them because there's something about the way you're coming across that seems like you're demanding a premature commitment, or you're prematurely attached, or that your infatuation level is greater than theirs, and they're spooked. Stop spooking the women that you're really interested in. Don't intentionally treat them badly, but slow your fucking roll.
Yeah.
Come on a little less strongly. That's what you're doing. You're coming on too strong and you're scaring people off that you're interested in. And the women that you don't come on as strongly, obviously you're an attractive dude. You get plenty of pussy. There are lots of women who are interested in you. And when you don't come on as strong, you don't scare them off. But you only don't come on strong to the women that you're not that interested in. So now you need to like consciously make an effort not to come on as strong. You can still come on like semi-strong to the women that you are interested in, maybe pursuing a commitment or a relationship with. You just got to be thoughtful, and you've got to filter yourself. Like, one of the things you listen to the show, one of the things I constantly talk about is that people, and no one else talks about this, people are looking for partners with good judgment, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be with somebody who's not an idiot. And there's a lot of little subtle ways that people assess whether someone has good judgment, and coming on too strong, even if you're really into somebody, if they're coming on too strong right away, part of your subconscious mind goes, yeah, that's not what people do who have good judgment. Even people who feel really strongly about you, they're aware that that can spook someone early in a relationship. So they hold a little bit of that back, and they roll it out a little more slowly. And that's how you demonstrate, one way that you can demonstrate good judgment. You know, even if, you know, I'm with somebody and I'm kind of crazy about them and I get the sense that they're kind of crazy about me too, I don't want all the crazy dumped on me right away, because that says I have no filter, I have no judgment. And we don't want to be with people with shitty judgment. So filter, slow your roll, make an effort.
Yeah, I'll dial it back. Yeah.
Dial it the fuck back. And I think you'll get much better results. Don't be a manipulative creep about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can be sincere and truthful about how you're feeling. Just parcel it out, roll it out a little slower. Set down breadcrumbs. Don't hawk hams at people. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. I just pulled that out of my ass. I don't even know what that means. But
I'll set down breadcrumbs, sure.
Instead of chucking a ham at someone. Good luck.
All right, thanks a lot.
Hey, Dan. I'm a teacher in South Carolina. Through some odd twists of fate, I lived in Vancouver, British Columbia for 2 years and then came back to South Carolina, where I was before I moved out there. I'm a public school teacher. I've been a high school teacher until this year, and I now teach 7th grade. Long story short, one of the units in our textbook is called Guided by a Cause. So I thought, hey, what a great way to introduce this unit by having basically like a menu of all the causes that people are advocating for out in society right now. And the kids have this basically web quest of like 40 odd sites. I included on there the It Gets Better Project, as well as Black Lives Matter, and No One is Illegal Vancouver, which is a Vancouver organization. And the district won't approve the websites for classroom use. Basically, I was told that 7th graders this would not be an age-appropriate conversation for them. My counter to that was they're already having these conversations. I hear them in the hallway and in my classroom all the time, and I have to correct, racial mistakes and counter homophobic bullying and that kind of stuff, already in my classroom. But my administration said that basically, it could cause more harm than good because kids will go bully each other in the hallways even after I'm not monitoring the conversation. And then, there might be community reaction. It's not sensitive to community norms because I live and teach, unfortunately, right now in one of the most conservative counties in one of the most conservative states in the United States. So I just wondered if any of your listeners out there have any advice for a public school teacher confronting this issue. I really don't know if I have any legal ground to stand on, especially in a right to work state. But in terms of, legal resources or even just advice from other listeners who have taught about sensitive issues, I'd really appreciate it because I'm really frustrated. And at this point, I'm just kind of getting sick of the muzzle that's constantly put on public education.
I'll toss this out there to listeners and see what advice they might have. My advice, if you didn't want to potentially lose your job over this, if you didn't want to go to the mattresses, if you didn't want to jam It Gets Better and Black Lives Matter into the curriculum, and bring in the ACLU when the school administration comes down on you, would be to include something in the study packet that encourages students to go find examples of other social justice movements that have relevance, a presence that they're aware of, and then allow the kids to bring in Black Lives Matter, March for Our Lives, the It Gets Better Project, the Trevor Project, whatever. And then you can't censor the kids. If the kids want to have a conversation, if the kids want to do a report on, then it's not your fault. You can't be fired because the kids are aware and awake and alive and moving through the world and listening to the news and finding out about things on their own and bringing those things into the school and in the classroom. That could be one workaround. If anybody out there listening has another suggestion, a better suggestion, other workarounds, or advice on how to take a stand legally, give us a call, 206-302-2064, and leave some advice for this caller.
Hi, this is for the caller whose boyfriend recently became sober, and I want to let her know it gets better. My husband was dealing with the same thing. He had to go to detox. It was a whole mess. Before detox, I couldn't get his face out of my pussy. After detox, it was like a desert. I went so far mentally with it that I thought, oh my God, he was drunk and he didn't realize how ugly I was, and now he just doesn't find me attractive. I went down that toxic little rabbit hole. I went to the doctor, talked to the doctor about it, and the fact of the matter is there's also brain chemistry there and hormonal imbalances that have to be righted, and sometimes that can't happen until 3, 4, 5 months after being sober. But do know that he's in a very critical time, and his sobriety really does need to come first, and he needs your support. And so that you don't neglect your own needs, I would say buy a really, really good vibrator. Love yourself. Love your boyfriend. Have patience. Definitely let him know how much you love it, how much you want him. But at the same time, you're not necessarily meaning to pressure him, and you certainly don't want him to disregard his sobriety.
Hi, Dan. I wanted to ask you to remind all your listeners that Mother's Day is a perfectly wonderful time to donate to Planned Parenthood. We have the whole family doing this instead of sending flowers or silly gifts. It's a great time to be grateful that you were a wanted child or that you had a wanted child.
Hi, this message is for the caller on episode 601 who's having an affair with her boss that has a pregnant wife. I was in a very similar situation when I was in college, and I felt bad about it and thought that, all the bad single things that happened to me while, that other men did was karma, and it wasn't. It's just that I thought that I didn't deserve better than what he was giving me. And eventually I learned that I deserve the standards that I expect, that I want in my future and currently have. And you can have it too. You just have to learn to hold men to those standards of what you want and how you want to be treated and how you want to be regarded. Okay, and don't settle for less. Yes, the sex may be good, but the sex is even better with somebody who truly loves you and wants to give you all the pleasure in the world and that you can trust so that you can be completely GGT about everything. I hope that helps. I know you're in a bad place, but it will get better. I promise.
And we're going to leave it there. 206-302-2064 is the number here at the Savage Lovecast. If you want to record a question or a comment for a future show, give us a buzz, 206-302-2064. Denver, Savage Love Live is coming to you on May 10th at the Oriental Theater. Join me, singer-songwriter Rachel Lark, and comedian Elise Kearns for what is going to be a very, very fun, hilarious, and filthy tuneful night. Again, May 10th, Oriental Theater, Denver. Go to savagelovecast.com/events for tickets. Go to itmfa.org for all your impeach the motherfucker already swag. We have a line of ITMFA Pride gear coming up soon at itmfa.org. You're going to want to get some for June. itmfa.org. Impeach the motherfucker already. Jesus Christ, what's it going to take? Maybe everyone wearing their ITMFA t-shirts everywhere they go. Follow me on Twitter at Fake Dan Savage. Follow Dr. Lori Brotto on Twitter at Dr. Lori Brotto. And follow Anthony Hecht on Twitter at A.Hecht. The Savage Lovecast is produced every week by Nancy Hartunian and me and the tech-savvy at-risk youth and Nancy. We'll all be back at you next week for another installment of Savage Lovecast. Thanks for downloading.